Now we can have a look. ETH on BTC is doing the same thing, yeah. Um, so so now
Correct.
before we have a chat about this, is I just want to touch base with, like, I'm looking to see who's on, yeah, and I'm looking at a lot of familiar faces and well, names, um, and I put down tonight's session as a beginners, and this is where it gets a little challenging. Is I know it can go through the arcs. I'm going to focus on the Elliott wave as well and the ABC correction to layer them in. And I know the more we go through this, the better, because it does take that repetition to see it. So I've no problem with all that. It's just I'm also mindful that if you're familiar with that and you've got that figured out, is how do I make the session as interesting for you as I do somebody who hasn't got it figured out? And there's two thoughts I'm thinking about that. One is
Hey,
I
Roy,
go on. Hey there.
I was going to say that I mean, I'm not an experienced guy at all by any
Yeah.
means, but I've certainly gone through this exercise here with you, and I personally find value in the repetition. I know it's repetition, but
But that's
holy
required.
shit, that's
Yeah.
what makes us great at it, right? So
Yeah.
I appreciate it for what it's
Yeah.
worth.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, yeah. I'm just really trying to get it just to check in with you, and I'll always do it because, like, I know it's not, I could talk about the same conversation 100 times, and I guarantee you it'll all be, while I'm talking about the same thing, the angle I'll come at will be always a little bit, it'll be something new on it all the time, because it keeps it interesting for me. So I'm always looking for interesting ways to explain the same thing. So I know there's always that. Uh, but then also as well is the if I could get a little bit of feedback from you, and what I mean by that is give me an interesting question, something that you're working on, or something that you're not sure about, or even a bit of feedback, whatever it is, something to add to it, where you can send me in a direction that within what we're talking about, that you want me to go into a little bit more detail. That's really my point. Is if I can give a little bit more detail specific to exactly where you're at or what you're trying to figure out, that changes it, because very simply, is if you can walk away from every session with something really tangible that you can go, okay, I can apply this now. And then you go at it and you layer it into everything else you're doing. You don't need 10 things. You just need one thing from every session where you go, okay, that's a piece that I know how to put it in and fit it in, and now I'm going to engage with that. Um, and if everybody's getting that, then we're all winning. So, and I'm explaining this so you know where I'm coming from, and what I'm looking for, and uh, and that you're not looking at, oh God, it's another beginner session tonight. I don't think I'll do that one, because I've heard that. Is it there's always another angle, so to speak. And then also as well is, at some point, is um, we need to start having a more refined conversation. And again, that is back to the detail I'm getting back from people. So now I can see when you're posting. I can see what you're posting. I can see your trades. I'm observing the conversations. So I can see, like, I get the finger on the pulse by the way people are engaging and what's going on. So I would ask you to just keep giving feedback in some way. And if you want something from me specifically to cover a particular topic, put it out there so I know. Like somebody was saying there, who's it today? Somebody was saying you were new, and where was it? Somebody were saying they were new. Where's the conversation? I said I'd cover it. I said I'd cover it tomorrow. Uh, yeah, it's in one of the conversations. I forget where it is. Is this it here? MP. See, sometimes there's names that you're like MPJL23. Yeah, we were having a brief chat today, and then he was saying that where is it? I said I'd cover it. There we go. Is a little okay. He's we had this roller coaster and this strategy. Okay. So tomorrow, I'm going to do a strategy session. Now I'd planned to do it this week anyway, but just the fact that he's asking about it, it gives me something to focus on. So that's really the point I'm trying to make. So again, if you want something from me, is you got to let me know. If you want the next stage of whatever you're figuring out to be going into detail, you got to let me know. That's really my point. So I won't labour it anymore. So let's have a look at the shit show, the shit show that is going on, and then figure out that it's not so much of a shit show. It is. I better share my screen. Okay. Okay. There we go. There we go. Okay. So, everybody see me shaking my mouse?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so now is there are times, especially when an arc is coming to a breakout, is you can see the drop in, the wave, and then is it the ABC completes, and then you get this sharp action here. And again, you might have your arc like this, and all of a sudden you're going, oh, it's breaking out, and it goes fast. Is if people are trading the short, is like here's a good opportunity to go short. Is here's a good opportunity. Here's a good opportunity, especially if we know it's going to go short. You get into your position rather than waiting for the confirmation here. Is if you know it's going down, is get a better position, yeah. So now this is on a knife edge. Is the where the trade is it literally is. There's that borderline between it's 1 foot in the grave and it's 1 foot to heaven, So the pump is still, the hopium is still there, but everybody's freaked out that we're going into a bear market. And we're not going into a bear market, yeah, not at all. So on the 4 hour here, on my 4 hour, I still have a first drop due. I still have one due. Is on the double top here. Is there are times when you get the spike up before a drop down. So to me, is this here is the push up for the push down, and you get that quite often. Is when it needs to break a level. So when price action is trying to break through a support line, it'll push up to push down. So again, it's trying to crack this support line at 76. So now here is it's coming down. Even if you want to put it here, it's coming down. It tested, got rejected. It's coming back up, and to me, it's looking like it's that push down again. And you get it also at the resistance lines. It'll come up, you get the strong rejection, and it's the push down for the push up. So it's quite common. They can be dramatic at times on a breakout, because you'll have your arc mapped out like this, and then you get this, and then all of a sudden you get this going on. You're like, what the hell's going on? So somebody has their oh no, that was Crypto Clear. She's in the room with me. Um, so yeah, so you'll have this, and again we're in good positions here, and then you get this. So people will call it a fake out, and in one way it is a fake out, and it knocks people out of their it can knock people out of uh, their their short positions. And you can come along and say, oh, intentionally it's done to knock people out of their short positions. I'm not so sure about that. I used to think that, but more logically is there is a strong uh, support line here, and to break the support line, there you get this very quick impulse wave coming up, and it's the lift to push down. It'd be no different than if you were trying to break a plank of wood with your foot, and you got to lift the knee high, you got to stomp down on it, you got to get momentum to create force. And I think that's it. It's not really to knock people out of their shorts. It's to actually break that support line and break through. That's what I think anyway. It's more logical when it comes to energy and force and movement, as opposed to making it so personal. Somebody's knocking me out of somebody's trying to get me out of my short. Yeah, that's my logic.
Roy, I got a quick question
Yeah.
about this specifically and this kind of movement up to final peak.
Yeah.
Is it safe to assume that a kind of a telltale sign that there may be a force pushing this downward after that final peak, that there is a clear imbalance in buyers and sellers along that spike up to final peak? Basically just a bunch of buyers and not enough sellers, and eventually that's going to catch up, and then you'll have the kind of the balance on the other side with a bunch of sells.
Yeah, you can see you can see here the bears here are pushing down, and then there's lots of sideways. Bulls are pushing back up. So the volume gets very low, and then you get these spiky movements, and then lots of sideways. So I'll answer you more directly in a moment, but just in general, where we are now is an awful lot of traders won't trade now. They're out. They're freaked out, and they're out because the sideways action makes it very difficult for a lot of traders to make sense of the market. And then you get this sideways action, and a trade that might last a day or 2 days can last 5 days or a week. And then people don't have the patience for that. And then their TA can get skewed because it's unless you're able to mentally edit out the sideways and see the pattern, is people are getting caught all the time. So an awful lot, and then that it's down so low, a lot of people just step back. There's far more traders who trade the pump than the dump. There's an awful lot of pump traders. They'll trade on the way up, and they'll do very little trading on the way down. And when it comes into this phase, it just stumps them. So now again, I think this here is excellent trading opportunities here. This is brilliant to trade, but only if you know how, and you take into account the nature of the way it works. So to be more specific, again about what you're saying is, you're correct in what you're saying, but I'm not that familiar with that way of understanding it. I'll explain it in a much simpler way. In me looking at patterns, is look at how quickly, look at how slow all this was going on. Now this is on the 5 minute. Look at how small it is as an Elliott wave, but also it's on the 5 minute, and it happened very fast. So the fact that it was a lot of small candles, but it was a sharp movement. Like this is on the 15. It happened very fast, and you could see the RSIs on one of my other charts where I have my RSIs. You can see the RSI on the 5, on the 15. Were running out of steam very fast. They were going into bearish divergence, which you could see that the difference between the RSI and the price action was getting tired. So that's how I knew that I was like, okay, here's what would be known as a fake out before the breakout. So then you don't get so stressed out about it. So yeah, so equally, if your dollar costing in here is, I'm dollar costing in is, I went in at 84 again. It took a dip down. I put a bit of dollar costing in. So now I'm at, what am I at? I am at, my entry now is, what is it? 8209. 8209. So this pushes me a little bit in the red, but I'm absolutely fine with it. I'm fine with it because I'm dollar costing in. It'll go down and then I'm waiting for it to break through again, and then I'll dollar cost it again. So that's part of the protection here, is that wherever your entry point is again, I keep my stop losses away. Is if I go to bed, I put a stop loss on. But when I'm awake, I take the stop loss off and let the price action do its thing, and I watch it like a hawk. So I need to put a caveat on with that. Is if you're getting into this and you're not used to trading, is you got to use a stop loss until you're sure of the position you're in and the trend and the movement and the way it's going. So once you're sure of that, yes, there's up and down along the way, but if you know it's going to go down, well, then those up and downs along the way, like I'm not afraid to pull back a little bit and let it do its thing, because I know I'm in the right position. Where you guys is you got to be a little bit, actually a lot more cautious at the start. So if you wanted to practice not using your stop loss and allowing yourself to let the trade play out more for you, is you got to do it with a small amount of money. And to be honest, that's how I did it. When I was using big money, I was terrified to be not having a stop loss, because I was looking at it going, Jesus, I can't afford to lose that. So not using a stop loss wasn't possible. And then I realized I'm getting caught so many times on these feckin' stop losses, and then it turns and goes the right way for me. And I'm like, all those missed opportunities. And then also it adds up. You get knocked out. They're small amounts, but you get 3 or 4 of them, and you're going, Jesus, that's the profit of my next trade. It wrecks your head, you know. So I pulled back to a really small amount, and then I wasn't afraid to lose that money. So when I wasn't afraid, it allowed me to trade more freely and to play out the trade and let me stay in the game. So then I wasn't afraid to trade without a stop loss, and that's when things really, really started to drop in for me, because I wasn't under that stress of the financial pressure, and I could let things play out. So it was wonderful. It was a real turning point for me in my trading. So now again, I did it a hard way because nobody was bloody telling me this. I wish somebody was telling me this, you know. I would have saved myself a lot of heartache. So I'm trying to save you guys a lot of heartache. And that's why I say it. A small amount is, if you're gonna go into the trade, you can be far more adaptable with your stop loss, which lets you play the trade. And when it goes your way, then add in. It's a no-brainer. It just keeps you very adaptable. So, and then it allows you to look at stuff like this and not get so freaked out about it. And then equally is what's the storyline here? Is you've now seen that when there's a really strong support line or resistance line, and price action comes to it a couple of times, and price action wants to break through it, is if price action comes to it and it wants to break through it, sometimes you get that snap up to snap it down, or that snap down to snap it up. So again, and look, this is the natural time for it to happen because it's close to a breakout. So this would be the time for it to push. So so there you go. So that's a bit of what's going on with price action at the moment. Yeah. Um, so any questions on that? Anybody not clear on what I'm saying?
No, Roy, actually, this is excellent what you're saying because it just really encourages us and how, because it's true, you can get discouraged very easily thinking you're missing out or you missed the boat, so to speak. And just knowing what you just said about starting off with small amounts, that will definitely prevent us the heartache that you had to go through.
Totally, yes, yes, yeah, yeah. Now I know some of you, I know some of you won't listen to me because you're only going to learn if you learn it the hard way. So, if you're that person, and you're going to go through it, is well, then I would suggest in some ways don't fight it, in the sense of you're going to get your knocks, and you got to take the blows, and then you got to reset yourself anyway. Like my second trade, I'll give you a laugh. Literally the second trade I put in, because I watched it for a little bit and I said, okay. And I went in on a 50x on my second trade. I saw a drop and I was like, this is brilliant. Okay, it's dropping. So I went in and I caught the bottom of it. And I got in on a 50x and it was pumping and pumping and pumping. And I put a lot of money in. It was offering me $203,000 in Ethereum. 203, and I don't know about you guys, but that's a lot of money for me. $203,000, 200 grand. And I said, no, I'm not taking it because I saw that there was a target of 465. And I stayed in, and then it turned and it dropped. And then I tried to play a stop loss battle with it. And tried to play a stop loss battle, ended up going into the red. I said, okay, I'm going to keep playing the stop loss battle here. And going into the red, and by the end of it, I was 35,000 in the red. And you know how much it knocked me out by? Because I knew what I was doing, even though I was, because I'd watched it, so I knew to play with it. Have a guess how much it knocked me out by. You're going to laugh. Have a guess. It came all the way down, and I couldn't bring it down any lower, and it knocked me out by $10. $10. It came down and went $10 below my liquidation price. Knocked me out, and then turned around and went back up. That was my second ever trade in January. What a roller coaster. So yeah, so I had that to deal with right at the start, So, and again, I got wrecked once or twice after that, but not like that, not like that. So it was true degrees of learning that eventually I got to a point where I knew exactly what I needed to do, had it all figured it out, but yet it just wasn't coming together for me. And it was back to this thing of I was shown these strategies and I was practicing these strategies of going in on the confirmation. Again, it all makes sense and the strategy is right. But I was going in on patterns at the time without understanding the context. The video the chat we had the previous night. So I kept getting caught in patterns that weren't validating themselves and turning around and getting knocked out. Or else I was getting it right. And you got that reverse candle that would knock me out, and then it would go on and validate itself. So eventually, that's why I came down to trading $10. And when I started trading $10 on a 10x, I very quickly started to trade consistently and successfully. The $10 is because I needed to take something out of my pocket and put it in the game. Well, it didn't matter how much. It was still my psychological commitment. And everything I knew how to do right and stay in the trade and let it play out, that's when I started to pull my stop loss down and dollar cost in. And that's when the penny really began to drop for me. So I really formulated my strategy around that, and then the arcs were really starting to kick in. I'd known the arcs for months, but then when I started to layer in the different timelines, I started to get a lot more confluence in my trades, and then I built it up from there. But that's just a bit of my story, and you're going to have your own story. Everybody's going to have their own story. So hopefully you're wise enough to go, I don't need to learn the hard way to learn the lesson. And again, in other areas of my life, I don't need to learn the hard lesson to learn the lesson. But in this one I did. So if you're that person, you're going to take your knocks, and then you're going to reset yourself. And at some point you're going to have to put yourself in a position where you can play the trade, not the money. If you play the trade and you get consistent, the money is a consequence to winning the trade. So that's everybody's got to figure out their own way within that. So this is a conversation that would be good to have along the way as well, as you guys are figuring your stuff out. What's your wall? What part of your mindset is working for you or working against you? And how do you find the balance of that? And then I have the patience of a saint in many ways, but then in other ways I don't. And in this I didn't. Until I had to take. I'm in other areas of my life. I'm a master at patience, and what I had to do is take that skill that I had in other areas, and I had to bring it into this. And it's a much nicer experience trading with patience. It's a much nicer experience, and then especially with dollar costing in and getting the confluence, you get to a point where you can see what's going on, you can see the play of it. Then you just let it play out, and you can enjoy the experience as it's happening. And of course, sometimes you get caught, and you gotta adjust. But your adaptability is in your dollar costing and your ability to move with price action. So you just don't get stressed out as much. So anybody any thoughts or questions on that before we get going? Let me ask you a question. From when you started to where you are now, how would you describe, in simple terms, how would you describe your development, your progression? You don't need to answer me, but you answer yourself. How are you getting on? Okay, and then name 3 things that are really coming together for you. And then also name 3 things that are not coming together for you. So what's coming together for you? What's not coming together for you? And then the question I have for you is, how are they related? How are they related? And whatever your answer is there, that's what you need to work on. And let me give you an example. You've got your arcs mapped out. You're able to mark out the arcs. You're able to put in your Elliott waves on the way up, but you're missing the target on the way down. Your ABC corrections are not hitting the target. So part of it's working for you, but another part of it's not working for you. So then that's telling you that you need to work on, I know how to measure it up, but I got to figure out how to measure it down, which essentially means the fibs. You got to bring the fibs in, and you got to get the fibs working right for you to measure your ABC correction on the way down, so that you're getting the impulse down more accurate. And then part of that is you would be adding in your support and resistance lines as another way of recognizing, the price action always likes to move up and down between support and resistance. So they're a great way to support or to recognize, well, this is what the fibs are telling me, this is what the arc is telling me, that this is what the support and resistance lines are telling me. So you're now starting to pack out and buffer, to fill out your ability to measure the ABC correction and have other indicators back you up and either confirm what you're thinking and coming to, or challenging it. Just as an example. And that's a way that you're stacking all the things you're learning and you're integrating them at the same time. Rather than you've got your Elliott waves in one place and you're working on them there, you got your arcs in another place and you're working on them there, and then there's your fibs over there, but they're not being integrated. You're not being able to read them all as one integrated story where the pattern is coming together for you and all your indicators are just helping you read the story. No different than putting on a pair of glasses and reading a book or watching a movie, is all your indicators are filters. So the more refined your filters are, the clearer you see the movie, or you clearer you see what's going on. So now, anybody any thoughts on that? You get what I'm trying to say?
Absolutely. And the indicators, that's the thing, is applying that instead of trying to think emotionally. And that's what I need. You're talking about
yes.
what we each need to work on. I think the emotional part, to try to pull that out and just be more reliant on the indicators and on the arc, would be far better.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Is I think a couple of things about that. One is generally time in the market. Is you figure out how something works, but then it's a bit like driving a car. You figure out how to drive the car, but until you actually get enough hours behind the wheel, it all just doesn't flow so easily. So there's always a stress level that comes with getting in the car, until you get to a point where it all starts to come together for you. So that's one part of it. Is and another part of it is, I'll say it to you this way, and again, I'm not sure if this is too much. Let me know, but I'll say it to you this way. How do you know that you know? It's not a trick question. How does anybody know anything? How does anybody know anything?
I guess the end result. I mean,
Okay.
That's
So now you're correct, but before that is, if you don't know what it is to know, can you know anything? You understand the question I'm asking? If you don't know what it is to know, how can you know anything? So before you know anything, you need to know what it is to know. Do you understand the point I'm making?
so you're saying learn everything and study before you jump out there. I think that's what you're saying.
Well, before that is is you know what it is to know. So you know what the taste of an apple is like. You know what fresh air smells like. You know things. Does that make sense? So now think about all the things you know, put them to one side, and then there's knowing itself. Is you have to know what knowing is like before you can know anything. Do you understand the point I'm making? Then I'll say it another way.
Yes.
I'll say it another way. Have you got somebody in your life that you really know? Pretty much everybody does. How do you know them? How do you know?
You spend time with them and making mistakes and everything, and I think there's just an aspect of this that you got to jump somehow in
So,
some way, even when you don't know, so that you can actually start asking the questions that lead you to knowing.
okay, exactly. So now you said knowing. So at some point you really get to know the person because you and that person have a knowing between each other. There's a knowing between you. Does everybody understand that? And that's where two people really begin to know each other when they have a knowing of each other. So the knowing is a thing itself. So when you're looking at learning trading, is if you're learning the technique, it's one thing. But if you're integrating the technique really into yourself, you learn from a place of knowing in yourself. So when you are working from that place, you learn things far more effectively. So if you're stressed out and you're trying to figure something out, is we tend to put buffers in between ourselves and the thing we're learning. So the point I'm trying to make to you is at what point do you can you look at a chart and that you can look at it and you know where price action is, you know how it moves, you know it because you're that familiar with it that it's not a thing that you're separate from anymore. It's something that you truly know. Does everybody understand the point I'm trying to make? So bear with me. So you know yourself. You know the part of yourself where you go, that's me. That's me. I know that part of me. Anytime you ask yourself, where are you? Is you come to that place in yourself where you go, I'm here. There's a sense of one's own presence, a consciousness, the knowing of yourself. Does everybody understand what I'm saying? Now, why am I saying this? It's about commitment, and it's about engagement in yourself with this. Is look how many hours you're putting into this. Look at your life plans that you have around this. Is on a scale of 1 to 10, how important is what you're doing here for your life and for yourself? Because I don't think anybody gets into this lightly. Because again, it's about our wealth, it's about our freedom, it's about all the things that are important to us in our lives. So then the question I have for you is, what is your relationship between you and the you that is the trader? And then the question I have for you in that is have you made a commitment where you've committed to cracking this, no matter how long it takes, no matter what you have to do, is you're going to get this? And I'll explain it my way, from my own experience. I've only been doing this since January. Now, I have a lot of other life experiences that kicked in as well. But what I decided to do is 24/7, I'm going to get this until I crack it. And I'm going to crack it to a level that it becomes second nature to me, is that I know it. And that I've engaged at a level that when I look at the charts, I literally I feel them, I have a familiarity with them. Is I'm not afraid of them. If anything, I find them fascinating. I'm drawn towards them. Is all the things I need to learn, is I'm embracing them. It's a challenge, but I'm loving the challenge. So the reason why I'm saying this is if you have that clarity in your mind about your intention and what you're willing to do to crack this, is then relax into it. Not rev up and charge at it like a bull, is relax into it and go, I'm in this, I'm doing it, and I'm going to crack it. And now I have a question for you. What's your natural pace of learning? How long does it normally take you to learn something? And I know that's a piece of string, is that different things take different times, but we all actually actually have a pace. We all have a pace that we learn things at. There's a structure to the way we all learn. Are you applying that to this? Like as if you were learning anything new at all? Are you bringing that part of yourself to bear to this? So that as opposed to looking at it as something alien and different and complicated, and it's like, oh my God, there's just so much to it, and getting intimidated by it, and then if you're putting a lot of money in, then getting the stress of that, is you could do this and it could be incredibly stressful. And then everything becomes a mountain. Everything you have to learn becomes a mountain. Or they can just be a lot of series of small steps, and that you can actually enjoy the experience and embrace it in a way where, and again, I'm going to say for me, is I left not just a career, I left a whole way of life to step into this. I'm still living the way I live, but I'm now doing it a different way. And I spent my whole adult life living one way. Is to step away from that and to step into this was a very big deal for me, a huge transition. And it's one of the reasons why I said I'm going to stick with this until I get it, because I didn't give myself another option. I had no back doors, and I sold the business. It was gone. So that when I stepped into this, it was with 2 feet. So my back door, I gave myself no back door in it, so there's no way to escape it. So for yourselves, I'm assuming that you're all in some form of transition. You wouldn't be here doing this and putting all these hours in if you weren't. And obviously you're looking to create a better life, probably obviously financial freedom. I'm guessing you might also be looking for time freedom, more time to yourself. For me, it was also about less responsibilities. I carried a certain level and type of responsibility. I was like, I don't want to carry that anymore. I want to be a bit freer, a bit easier myself, and ultimately, I'd like to just relax and enjoy life. Work hard, but enjoy life. So there's all those reasons. So all those reasons is, if you bring them to bear to this, is then relax into it, and then embrace it step by step. And like anything that's absolutely important to you, is be willing to put the time in to get it right. And if it takes whatever amount of time to get it right, well, then that's the time it takes. And you're going to go at your pace, somebody else will go at their pace. Once you find your rhythm, and it's the last thing I'm going to say about this, once you find your rhythm in this, is it will all start coming together for you, and you'll feel it, and then you'll know it. And then you're going to be going, okay, this is really starting to work for me. Okay, and then it's just a matter of adding on more pieces. At some point, there's consistency coming in. When you get consistency in your trading, that's the turning point. Because whatever you're in this for, whatever goals you have, whatever changes you want to have in your life, is the consistency is the trigger. Because when you get consistency, all the things that you want to happen can now happen. They are becoming a reality, because the consistency, as a consequence, brings the success. That brings the wealth, and then the wealth brings the choices, and it changes everything. So that's how important consistency is. So now I have a question for you, another one. I know I said I'd finish, but I'm on a little bit of a roll, so bear with me. Is in everything else you've done in life and figured out, how did you become consistent in it? In your way, what way did you come to that? And then when you did become consistent in it, what did that feel like? How were you when you were like that? Who appeared when you became consistent in those things? And anything from work to a hobby to relationships, whatever it is, anytime you really found consistency, you need to find that frequency in this. And we all have consistency in our lives. So take what you do really well in one part of your life and put it into this, like patience. I had to take patience that I did really well in one place and put it into my trading. And it changed everything, really changed everything for me. So think about all the qualities that you already have that you can bring to bear on this, and that it starts to become a lot more real for you. And consistency, again, is the trigger point. That's when it all starts to actualize, because that's where the profit is. Okay, so
Roy,
yep.
Roy, that was the most motivational time that that we've ever experienced, and thank you for that. That really, really encouraged. I'm sure I could speak for all of us. It's just incredible that you shared your past and you gave us such motivation on that. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're very welcome. Like I know you guys been at it now. What, about a month, weeks to months here. I know you, and I know you have a past as well outside of this, trading wise. So yeah, it comes together in degrees. It comes together in degrees. So sometimes it's your trading, and then sometimes it's your mindset, and they're intrinsically linked. So yeah, lots of stuff to tease out as we go along. So, okay, now what am I going to do? I said I would do arcs. I'm looking at everybody who's here, and I'm thinking, okay, I've done a lot of arcs with you guys. Is there something new I can do in the arcs, or is there something specific that you want me to do in the arcs that will just, rather than me spending an hour going through everything that you're already familiar with? Is there an angle on it that you want me to tease out?
Could you elaborate on, I guess, rules when you're doing the Elliott wave? For instance, I've been doing some reading on the side,
Yeah,
and I found that putting in a trend line, I have to have 3 points. I have to hit 3 points to make it a legitimate line.
yes.
And so maybe that's where I know I'm having a problem with trying to figure out, okay, it looks like it may be an Elliott wave, but I'm not sure, why did he pick this second peak over here versus that peak over there? And
Okay.
Yes, that would
does
be
that make
good.
sense?
Yeah, totally. I get that. Okay, well then you said a few things there. So let me start, and I'll keep that in mind, and then we'll tease that conversation out as we go along. What coin?
Roy, can I add one more thing? Is
Yeah, go for it, yeah.
from then, right after that, how do you
Well, I was just
forecast
thinking if you
future
keep that in
arcs?
mind while you're putting,
Yes, I
showing
am.
us these art.
Yes, I am.
So,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And to be honest, I think this is a good thing to do at the start of every conversation. If everybody can give, not everybody, if I get 2 or 3 pointers when I'm taking it through it, we can keep touching off those pointers. And again, it just makes it a little bit more structured for you guys. So absolutely, I'm going to cover that. So, and then Taylor, go on. What were you going to say?
No, that wasn't me. That
Oh,
wasn't me.
That was
go on ahead. Yes.
me, Roy.
Yes.
Polanco. I just wanted to also add it, if you could show us how to forecast. After you finish your final arc, right, based
Yeah.
on the data that's on the chart. How do you forecast past that?
Yeah, absolutely, yes. Okay. All right. Well, then give me a coin. Or what one do you want me to do? Say again.
H bar would be cool.
Ethereum. Okay. I did it. Well, let me just check with this. How many of you do trade Ethereum? What's the main coin that you're trading? Is it Ethereum?
Yeah, me.
Ethereum. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Well, then let me do Ethereum, because I'd love to do H bar, and I will do H bar again. But let me do Ethereum because mostly I think the majority are probably trading Ethereum. So to really crack on with Ethereum would be a good thing. I also promised Alex that I'd start trading Ethereum, because if I trade it, I'll start engaging in the Ethereum chat more. Because you'll always find me in the XRP chat. So I think what I'm going to do is buy a little bit of Ethereum, and I'll actually start trading it, because it'll keep me more engaged in that conversation. Okay, so let's
Great.
go on.
Well, I'm saying great.
Okay, yes, yeah, it is, yeah, and again, it keeps me on my toes, Let me pull out the Ethereum chart. Okay.
Roy, were you doing that? I just heard some interesting there. Do you recommend just trading one or two coins starting out and getting really familiar with them, or what's your thought?
Yeah, I am quite biased about this. Can everybody see me shaking the mouse there?
Yeah.
Okay, because that's Ethereum. I personally think it's far more constructive for, especially at the beginning, for you to trade one coin and put all your skills into that. I at the start I tried to trade 3 coins, and going in on 3 coins is the market moves a lot of the time at the same time, and I found that when I'm in 3 trades and I'm trying to look after them all, is I was getting caught with all 3 needed my attention, and I could only give it to one, and then I was trying to flick to another, and then I would lose my focus because there was just too many things going on. So I decided to focus on one coin, and then I'm just building my bag of XRP. So on the next bull run is I have a list of coins that I want to purchase at the bottom, the utility coins, and I plan on the next bull run to trade those coins on spot, and then also trade them on leverage, and rather than trade constantly on XRP, is I'm going to trade on the 4 hour on all the coins. So I'll trade every coin less, but I'll trade the bigger swings. So I might have 6 or 7 coins, even 10, and I'll only trade the big swing on the 4 hour on all of them. And it's a way I can manage it. So that's my medium to long term goal. But right now I only trade the one coin. Outside of that, I think it's a bit of a distraction. Is you'll see like exit strategy. He flies through the coins, and he's bouncing, and it's all season, so there's fantastic profits to be made. But that's only if you know what you're doing. If you don't know what you're doing, is like, I'll give you an example. Like exit strategy, he'll look at price action, and he'll look at his TA, and he'll know what's going on. And he knows his trade, and he knows where he's putting it in, and he can retain that while he's looking at other coins. Is unless you can do that, it gets a bit too much. So I'm not saying don't trade multiple coins, but you need to learn all of your TA and get really familiar with a coin, because they're all a little bit unique. They all have their own little nuances. An example is ETH. ETH likes to float off sideways. Does a lot of sideways floating action, where Ethereum has these nasty spikes that spike up and down, So different coins have different characters to them. So that's what I think. It's up to yourself. If you want to do multiple coins, that's fine. But if you find that you're getting overloaded, and it's getting in the way of your success and your consistency, well, then maybe you need to pull back and go, look, get your consistency in one before you try to get consistency in 2. And I think that sounds very reasonable. So there you go.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem. So now with I've already got Ethereum mapped out. I can do the projection stuff, the planning head. I've got that in my head. What I'm trying to remember is the person that was speaking first about, they were talking about measuring the Elliott waves, and if I understand it right, is an example is when is 3 and when is 4, and why is this not 3, 4, 5, and how do you know that this is 3, this is 4, and this is 5? Was that one of the part of the questions you're asking me? Is how do you get a good measure?
Yes.
Wasn't that one? Okay. Then what was another part of what you were saying? The support lines and resistance, I remember. There's 3 things you said.
Well, it was basically just giving us rules to follow, I guess, when you're trying to map out these like the Elliott wave or the ABC correction.
Yes. Okay.
If that makes sense.
It does. Yeah. Now that'll also fit in with the predictions for when and using the fibs, and how do you measure your targets? That conversation fits in together. Yeah. So let's just use this little guy here as an example. Okay. So now if we were to look and go, how is that target measured? How do we know that was going to hit there? Yeah, is if you look here, here's a correction. Here's a bottom. So here is an Elliott wave here, a peak, and then here's an ABC correction. So how you measure the next Elliott wave is one of the ways you do it is you measure the previous Elliott wave. So you take your fib, and there's the bottom, and there's the top. So the bottom, here's the top, and the general central line is the 1618. This impulse wave is the next one. Generally, the target is the 1618, and you can see it here. Look, it broke above it, and look, now it's sitting on it here now. Okay, so that's how you measure the next impulse wave. So that's one way that you do it. So now let's go in and go into this a little bit more. Let's go into the 5 minute. It just gives us a little bit more detail. Okay, so now you have your general target here. You have your general target here. So you know generally it's in and around here. Okay, so now look at how the impulse wave generally moves. You see the small waveform here? You always get this small waveform, and then at some point you're going to get the initial lift, you get the push. Now look, you get a reset. So this is one step. And then you get the retrace. And you get another step. Now look at this. You get this here, another step, and then you get a retrace. Now this here, from here all the way to here is 3. Is 1, 2, all the way to 3, 4, 5. So 1, second step, third step. So in the second step is you get to here, it retraces, it comes up, you get a bigger retrace, and then it comes up again. So in the middle of wave 3, you have a big retrace. So you've got 1 step, 2 step, and 2 step is this and that. It's this and that with the retrace in the middle. So 1, 2, and then the third one is when you get 4 or 3, 4, 5. 5 is the third step. Sometimes 5 is pretty big and sometimes pretty small, but it is the third step. The first step is when you get 1, 2, and all this movement here, and then you get the pump. So 1, retrace, 2, which is the pump, retrace, and pump again. All this is the second step. And then when you reach 3, 4, 5 is the third step. So 3 steps up. 1, 2, 3. The middle step has a big retrace in it. Is, if you remember the conversation the other day, we talked about part of how you know that you're getting closer to the end of wave 3 is that you get this big drop and it's like a W. Do you remember we talked about it the other day? Is you get this W formation going on. And then after the W formation, you get a scooping. So look, there's a scoop, there's a scoop, and then 3, 4, 5. So now this is consistent. Is you always get this scooping that looks like a W. Sometimes if it was a bigger one, you'd see it much more. Let me go down to the 2 minute. Just give it a little bit more detail. Okay. So there's that big W, and then look, here's the scoops. There's normally 2 or 3. 1, 2. Now when it reaches a peak, and then you get another drop down, that's how you know. Look, here's the scoops. Here's a peak. There's a peak there, and then look, here is 5, the blow off top. So there are. It's a very clear story. It's like it's very much like every arc has a mountain peak. Every one of them. Every one of them. When you're looking at it, is every one of them has a skyline. So look, we came into this. Everyone has a third spike, a double top, a first drop, higher highs, every resistance peak. Every arc has all these touch points on them. And now that I'm talking to you, what I'm going to do is I'm going to map out the impulse wave. Actually, I've already done it. I've already done it. Let me try and pick. What am I looking for here? I'm just looking for a nice, clean, tidy one. Okay, go for this one. So remember, is same thing. Look, 1, 2, 3. 3 steps up, because part of the Elliott wave is you have the 1 to 2 to 3 to 3 to 4 to 5. So now you have 3 steps down. Is you've got 1 resistance peak, 2 mid-range high, then 3 is third spike. So first spike, second spike, third spike. As an Elliott wave, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Does everybody understand? So what you need to practice doing, and again, I'm going to go through it again here. And then what I'll do is, tomorrow is I'll map it. I'll get a couple of samples of them, and I'll map them out, and I'll put this story out for you. Yeah, is look at this again. 1. Here's the 1. Now look at this. Look at this. The pumping here is now. Look at this here. See this here? That's that W and the big retrace formation through 3. You got it again here. Look, it comes up here. Remember, they're all a bit unique, so it's easy to think. It's easy to think that this is 3. But what does it not have yet? Why is this not 3? What's the one thing that hasn't happened yet?
the scooping thing?
Yeah, yeah, literally. And you got to get used to it and trust it. But look, it has this, but where's the scoops? Feck, look, here's the scoops. Scoop, scoop, scoop. And then the final drop, and then the small blow off top. It's not a big one, it's a small one. And to be honest, it sort of scoops its way to the top. So until you start to see the scoops, you know you're not hitting 3. And that you hit 3, 4, 5. Now, I know, and some of you are probably already thinking it. I'm going to put it in. Is it's very hard to argue it's not that. It's very hard to argue it's not that. Okay? And this is where I get quite dogged in my approach, because you're always going to get this. You're always going to get these. And these always come before 3. So it doesn't matter if this looks more correct, if this is prettier, if this fits in to the look more. Is you're sacrificing the scoops, that more times than not is the scoops come before 3, 4, 5. And equally, this here is higher than that. This here is higher than that. This is the second last high before the drop, before the top. This is not the second last high. This is. So technically, this is 3, that's 4, and that's 5. I like the look at this. Much prettier. Fits in more. But now what I'm doing is I'm breaking the rule of, you've got this big retrace, like a W. You've got your scoops, 3, 4, 5. And let's pick a couple of more examples. I'm going to turn this one upside down. Okay. So here's this one upside down. And again, they're not always pretty, so you have to stay adaptable. Here's the base. 1, 2. Okay, so now this is where I would challenge this. Watch this here. Is that once you have 1 and 2, wherever it is you can have price action come back down and go below 1 or 2. So 1, 2, you can't have price action come back down and break it. Okay? So now it seems natural to say this is 1 and this is 2. However, this has come down and it's breaking it. So you can't have that. You can't have that. Maybe a person would do this. Maybe this is a better way to do it. Where is it? Because I'm looking at this and going 1, 2 is too small. So maybe what it is, it's on this one, it's this one, 1 and then 2. That makes a lot more sense. However, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Now there's a problem with this. Does anybody see what the problem is? Does anybody know?
That 3 can be the shortest one?
Yeah, 3 cannot be the shortest one. 3 has to be the longest one. You can have 1 and 5 equal to 3, but you can't have them greater than 3. It's just a rule. So 5 here is the greatest. Now I know there's a big dump, so it's part of it, but it's still the same. The same applies. You can't have that. So we gotta go in and look look at a bit more detail. So this is on the 1 there. I'm going to go down to the 15. Okay. So when we go down to the 15, I think 1 to 2 is fine, but I think we need to refine 3 to 4. Okay, sure. Look at this. There you go. There you go. That's exactly where it is. 4 is here, and 3 is there. So 3, next candle, so retrace 4 and 5. Okay, and there we go. That's it there. Now, why is this like this? Because there is loads of sideways action. There's lots of sideways action. So this here is, you have to sort of mentally edit out all this so you're not getting confused by it. And just look at the peaks. The bottom, 1, 2, and this is just all sideways. Imagine half of this was gone, and then you'd have no problem recognizing this. So that's where the sideways gets messy there, yeah? Okay, and then look at 3. 3 has to be the biggest. It's the impulse. 4, and then 5. So that works. If you don't have 3 as the biggest, you got to go in to look for the refined detail. But now look at the steps. 1, 2, 3. One step, 2.
As long as 3.
Say again?
I think 1 looks as long as 3.
One looks as long as 3. It does. It's not as, it's long, but it's not as high. If you get what I'm trying to say, it's not as high.
Because it's sideways action.
It's the sideways action. Yeah, the sideways action, and it's not long. It's not longer, but yeah, you could make the case that it is as long. But again, this is where you allow for the sideways action. The only other option after that, because look how low 2 is. The only other option after that is here. There's a candle here, and then the bottom after that is this.
And why not that?
Oh, honestly, it could be. And to be honest, that would be my preference. But we went into the detail, and that showed it more. That showed it more. That would be personally my preference. I'm just mindful that I'm trying to be a little bit less biased about my own bias and go, look, most people I think would pick this. You know, most people would pick this. But no, I would go with this. Okay, fair point. So now look, see here, it doesn't touch it. So that works. This does not work. So you never let those meet. Okay. So now look, still, and again, I would still, even though I'm saying this is 1, all this sideways action, 1, there's the lift. Look, here's the scooping, like that look like a W, or not the scooping, the W. Look, there it is. So eventually you get the movement, you get the actual movement of 3, then you get this, okay? And because of the nature of this one, is you've got the scoop, or the W movement, and then here's the scooping here. Look at the scooping there. You can see the scooping, and then eventually this just went. But still, even though this was parabolic and it really pumped, it still left the space for 3, 4, 5. It still completed itself. So now, when you're looking at your Elliott waves, that's what you're looking for. So you've got your I'm going to turn this back up. You've got your fibs. You've got your fibs that will help you with your targets, but then you got to actually follow the Elliott wave and check all the different steps that you're getting, because this is the same, that's the same, this is the same. They all have the same touch points. Actually, all of them here do. We broke them down enough. Okay, so Polanco, was it you that was asking me was asking me about this? Was it Polanco? The first person that was asking me about this, about the Elliott waves?
Not Jeff.
Was it Polanco?
No, it's Jeff.
Jeff.
Jay Porch, yeah.
Very good. Okay. Yeah, because I wanted to know your name. Okay. So does that make sense to you? Does that help you clarify that a little bit more?
That makes a lot of sense. I was wondering how you flip those like that. I don't quite catch that when you're doing that on the chart.
Option on the keyboard, Option and I. Option and I. It's super handy. Option and I.
Okay.
And it flicks it. So do you see that you've got to get into the nitty gritty of the Elliott waves and map them out? Map them out. And again, look, here it is again. Look, here's this W movement. Here's the scooping. Again, look, it throws in another bloody scoop, or a W. And then here's 3, 4, and 5. So when you have this and you've got the scoops, you're super close. Is this down here? Might catch you out going, what the hell's going on here? Is this 3? Is this 4? It comes up here. It is easy for you to think this is 5. Absolutely, it's easy for you to think this is 5. Okay, and then it drops down, and all of a sudden you have this going up. You go, look, there's 5. It's easy to do. So, but now the thing is that if you're going short here, and you go in look, you go, this is 3, this is 4, this is 5. So you're going in your short here. You're pulling your stop loss back a bit. To me, I'll let my I won't put a stop loss in, and I'll let the price action do its thing. Let's say this starts to go up. Don't panic. Why do you not panic? Okay, you missed it a little bit, but only a little bit. This is an Elliott wave. That this is so close to the top that even if you misread this and you've got this bit more, even if you had that more, that it decided to do this, that this is just about complete. So for me, I'll take my stop loss. I'm dollar costing in, I'll take my stop loss away. And if there's more to it, but then okay, no stress. Don't worry about it. It comes up to here, is dollar cost in. When you see it peaking, is put in another whatever amount. It'll pull your entry point up. This turns and it starts to go down, and you're in profit sooner because your entry point was here and then you pulled it up to here. So then retrace, and now you're in the green. And that's it. No stress. No stress. You just gotta get used to recognizing the steps. 1, 2, 3. Okay. So I think a good thing to do is to really focus in on that and really nail it. Really nail it as part of your TA.
Now on the way down, where we just had this spike today,
yeah.
Where would you put C, ABC, Elliott wave, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the way down?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll measure it out now. Now, part of I've been avoiding doing the Elliott waves much the last week, and it's because of the sideways action, and just the nature of where it is. It's as messy as hell.
We agree.
It's as messy. They're great opportunities, and again, when you know how to trade it, it's wonderful. It doesn't matter that you know how to trade it; it's still messy as hell. So I'm like, I didn't want to get too caught up in trying to teach you the Elliott waves too much with this price action. I'm sort of waiting that okay, when it switches up and there's a bit of volume and we get moving again, there'll be more dynamicness to it, and the pattern changes and it switches it up. So just be mindful that it is going to change, and then we have to adapt to that. Okay, to answer your question, your here's an A, B, C. Now here's another Elliott wave, A, B, C, potentially. Let's double check that. And then here's another Elliott wave. Okay, so now here's the bottom, here's the top. So I'll go from the top to the bottom here. So the top to the bottom of this Elliott wave. Okay, and then I'll follow it down. The baseline I'll be looking for is the golden pocket. Now you can see that this came lower than the golden pocket, and it came to the 702, nearly even came to the 786. Now to me, I'm looking at the 786 because I think at the moment the 786, because of this parabolic pump, that the bigger this big movement here has really brought lots of sideways, but then when it moves, it seems to be pushing things down to the 786, and that's also what I'm expecting. That the 3.6, yeah, I'm expecting this to come down and for Ethereum to hit the 786, to hit 3.6, 3.5. I think of it. There's my target. I think Ethereum is going to come down and hit 3.5 or so. So I think it nearly did already. It nearly did already. So now. So to answer your question is, sorry, I'm just having other thoughts here. I'll tell you what my thought is.
Oh, no, that's the answer. Yeah, just wanted to know where. So you're saying it's starting another Elliott wave?
Yes, yes, yes. So I think it might be coming down. This is going to come down more. I tell you what, I'm mindful. I'll just stick to Ethereum because XRP has a bigger journey to go. XRP on its 1 hour has deeper to go. So where Ethereum has nearly come all the way down to where I thought it was going to go, I still think Ethereum is going to come down and hit the 786. And partly what I'm looking at now is going, well, Jesus, it might actually come a little deeper. It might come a little deeper.
I know Alex believes it's going to come down deeper. So
yeah, I'm looking at. I'm thinking this is what my thought was. Like, Jesus, Ethereum might actually break down and possibly come down to the 618 here and do 227. Ethereum, because XRP I know has a bigger journey to go. But Ethereum might actually come down, yeah. Yeah. Was Alex saying 2728 or something, was he? Potentially.
That's what you think. So far, what you've been saying, and you've been right on target.
Yeah, yeah. You see, this is where I'm getting my wires crossed a little bit. Is on the 1 hour with XRP. XRP can come down to 65 cent or 60 cent and still be within the 1 hour arc. Where Ethereum here, if Ethereum is to come down, Ethereum would be breaking this, the double bottom, and it'll be coming down here. So anyway, yeah, it looks like it could be it looks like this arc could be breaking out and coming down to the 227.
But how can you know that? See, that right there is what blows my mind. Like,
yeah,
how could you know it's going to come down that low when the golden pocket is showing us, and then the right below that you can see, your 35 seems to be pretty reasonable actually. But
it does. Yeah.
How can we learn? How can we learn that it could possibly go lower? Like, I know you know, and Alex knows, but how can we learn?
I'll show you now. You see this Elliott wave here? is I went from the bottom to the top to the bottom, and I look for the golden pocket. So now this can complete itself, A, B, C, and it comes down. And again, golden pocket, 702, 786 is again 786. I was not far off it, to be honest, not far off it at all. Yeah, but now if I think it's going to break out of the arc, is I will look for the impulse down. So from here down to the 618 or the 1618. So now if this was going to break out, the impulse would be all the way down to the, as an average, the 618, 1618. Again, sometimes it's the 414, you know, but there's a bit of volume in these dumps lately, so possibly the 618. Now a simple way to do that as well is I could do this here, you know, and if I just put it to there like that, is look at there, it's getting very close to it. So because that's what I would reckon is this here, the peak here is the beginning. See that red candle there? It's quite possible that red candle is dead cat bounce. You get a drop, it'll get a retrace, it'll come close to it again, is resistance peak, and then you get a drop, and then we're off into another Elliott wave, a bigger Elliott wave, one like this. Dead cat.
Roy,
Yeah.
I got a question over here.
Yeah.
So originally, when we had that big dump in the past,
Yeah.
like the ones that went to the 3400, we were thinking that was the ABC correction from the very high peak.
Yeah.
Back then and back in November.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't we think that this is number 2 wave? Like that was when, and we completed the ABC correction of the peak, and now we already retraced to the golden pocket, and we're heading to number 3.
I agree with you. Yeah. It's possible that this will just come down. It might actually come down and just hit here again, and then off it goes. Is for sure it could do that. For sure it could do that. I'm just.
So what makes me think, like, where would I be wrong? Like let's say I went in short in this position, thinking yes, it still have a little bit movement to the downside.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Sorry. So bear with me for a sec.
Yeah.
Bear with me for a sec, because I think. Okay. Bear with me. My apologies. I want to make sure I'm getting there. I'm putting the 4-hour lapping over it. Yeah, I might have a. Okay. Yes, that is okay. No, that's not much of a difference. Yeah, so yeah, this I before I'm looking at this the way I'm looking at it now, I would have said that it's coming down to 3.5 or so. It's going to create a double bottom, and then off it goes, and it could be exactly that. There is still this correction to come. Okay, there is still this correction to come. So let me measure what this in itself could be, and then I'm gonna answer your question. I'm thinking of other coins as well. So this is why I'm not thinking of Ethereum on its own. So let me just get my thoughts out for you, yeah? And so now here is, again, we'll go from the top to the bottom. So the natural retrace here would be the ABC correction will bring it down. Golden pocket might even come down to the 786. So it might come back down to 3750. And again, as you said, it could then have its 1, 2, and then off you go for a breakout. That's what I've been saying up until now, yeah? Is what's throwing me off is I'll show you this. I'm going to change charts. What has me thinking, could this go down more? Is what's going on with XRP. Sorry, I'm just looking to change the chart. Where is it there? Is it there? Ah, there it is there. Okay. 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 So here's XRP, and again, it's in the same position with regards. Look at it, has that Elliott wave, and here's the correction, yeah. So, but XRP hasn't come close. XRP hasn't come close to 65. But Ethereum and Bitcoin have come close to their bottoms. This is what's thrown me off a little bit. Now XRP is more volatile. So when Ethereum drops 10 points, XRP drops 20 points. You know, so that's just the way of it, you know. So it could be very much that Ethereum and Bitcoin have hit very close to their bottom. Is they have a correction here like this, and Ethereum and Bitcoin have their correction, where XRP can actually have a much bigger correction. So that's what's sort of thrown me off, because I was definitely looking at Ethereum touching back down at the 3.5 or so, and then that would be its double bottom. So it definitely looks like it. But XRP hasn't had its double bottom, because look, here's its bottom. Is Ethereum has already come down very close to its recent drop, and so has Bitcoin, but XRP hasn't. So that's what's thrown me off. So I'm looking and going, well, if XRP has a spill here, does Ethereum still have a spill? And it looks like if they're all going to do their double bottoms, Ethereum and Bitcoin already look like they've done it. XRP hasn't. So do you understand what I'm saying?
Are you saying that it should be on the way up now? It's like it's not going to go back down to 3,500?
No, it might. Yeah, with Ethereum, it might come back down to the bottom of the arc and might go a little lower and touch 35. But it doesn't necessarily have to break out all the way down to 2.7.
So then the drop last night, this morning, is not really the double bottom.
Yeah, no. Well, if you look at how close, I'll go back to Ethereum now. Where is it? There's there's the Ethereum there. If you look at how close, there we go. There we go. There's the recent bottom for Ethereum. Like there it is. That was that That was that big drop down.
Okay. I see what you're
Do you know what I
saying.
mean?
Okay.
That's a double bottom. That's what I'm looking for with XRP. But XRP is still all the way up here. So XRP has this to go. But look, you could make a very good argument that Ethereum is that can be classed as a double bottom. There's no doubt that this could drop a little lower. It could and meet this, and again, or come very close to it. Is for sure it could do that. For sure.
Is there a way to know, or
Yeah. Well, look. Well, watch. Well, yeah. Well,
because
watch.
if it's just a fake out,
Well,
then
watch.
that would mean
Well, we'll do the same thing again. Do you see this here? There's the top. Here's the bottom, and this is the dominant Elliott wave of this arc. So if you remember, I measured this one, and we came down here. Now measuring this one is this here is it comes down an A, a B, and a C, 786. Hit right on the line of 786. Now listen to what I'm going to say. Is if this is an A, B, and then the C is here, and it's going to complete in the arc. Normally this, how can I say it? No, I'm no, I want to make sure what I'm saying to you is correct. Okay, you see, this is where you got to zoom out. Okay. Bear with me. Bear with me. I'm going to open up another chart, and so you'll see this really clearly. New layout. I'm gonna zoom out for this. Yeah. See, this is why I need to stay on ETH. I need to stay on ETH more, because look, I have to look at this again and get my. I'm zooming out to get the bearings, the better bearings on it. Yeah. Because I'm looking at the smaller time frame there, and I'm now questioning, is it going to go lower? And I didn't question it before, and now I am. So now, if that's the case, I need to zoom out and revisit it all. Yeah. Okay. So look, here is.
Were you thinking that the C wasn't long enough then?
Say again.
Were you thinking that C wave wasn't long enough then?
Yeah, well, look when you look at it here, there's the bottom there at 334, and there is 3644. This could come down a little bit more to meet a double bottom, but the double bottom tends to be much closer together. They tend to be much closer together. So there's definitely a little bit more. But do I think it's going to spill? I'm now zooming out to have a better look. Excuse me. Is here's an Elliott wave, A, B, C correction, okay? Here's an Elliott wave, A, B, C correction. Here is an Elliott wave that is not complete. Does everybody see how this is not complete? And what's happening here is that we have the W. See this here is here. It's all a bit tighter. It's more parabolic, but it's not as obvious. I think that of this one this is the W of it, and that you're going to have a double bottom, and then again you're going to have look here comes up, You get the scoop, and then you have your final blow off top. So you have this is here, maybe even put out a little more, and then up it comes is you scoop and then the blow off top. That's what it looks like. So now the question is has it come down far enough? Let me do a couple of things. Is this is one. Do you remember the tree? Remember the tree waves? Is this is one. This is two. And we're only on the W of 2. You're going to come up here, it's going to retrace, and then you're going to have 3. So Ethereum has a long way to go. This bull run has a long way to go for Ethereum to top out. The challenge is measuring measuring it. Because it's on such a big bull run, this is back on December 2020, is normally what you would do is you take the previous, again, it's ridiculous to do, and look, it's not giving you anything near what you want because Ethereum is going on such a parabolic run. So now let's see if we can use this as a baseline, this arc. So now I'm going to go from here, the bottom, to the top. Okay. Then what I will do is, because it's parabolic nature, I'm going to go all the way to the 272, is just from this Elliott wave, is the impulse is suggesting the top of this could be 9,284. I actually think it's going to be more than that, but it's also suggesting that this, remember, this wave is predictive of the next wave. So here's the correction. Now, here it is, and here's the new wave coming in. So I would suggest that this wave is going to go to at least $6,700. At least $6,700 is this wave. And most likely it's probably going to go higher. Shockingly, it might actually go to here. And this is only the second leg. 1, 2, it comes up here. It has again 3 to 4, has this dip, goes sideways for a while, and then comes back again and goes up for its final blow off top. And again, there's it could be doing another big pump. So does everybody get what I'm saying? So now the question is, what's going on here, Roy? Tell us what's going on here. Now I have to zoom in for that.
Roy,
yes?
Before you zoom in,
Yep.
Can I ask you, like, let's assume that the first parabolic run that ended up in May or something like that, that was the first Elliott wave.
Yes.
And we went through the ABC correction. We ended up in July.
Yep.
And then from July, we have our 1, 2, 3.
Yep.
And the 5th wave is ending in November. Like 3 is where you are, or before is that.
Yep.
Like, and we ended the 5th wave in November. That's an assumption.
Yeah. No, I don't think it's finished. And let me explain what I'm going to do next.
Okay. Sorry about that.
No. You're fine. But it links into what you're saying. You're following. So watch this. So now, look. Here's a correction. Here's like of this wave. 1, 2, 3. Again, it leads on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to now measure here to there. So 1 from here to there. And again, I'm looking at the 618 and the 272. So now I'm going to put this one here as a reference as well. So now, while this one here is the 618 is here, this smaller wave predicts the next impulse wave. This impulse, ABC correction, predicts this impulse wave, because that's the way it works. So now this one here is, when you look up the 272, is giving you 6,900, 7,000. This one here, the 618, is giving you a little less. So there is a very clear relationship between this first leg is predicting 618, and then this leg is predicting it as 272. Do you get what I'm doing? So now,
Yeah.
here we are on this leg here. Look, correction, A, B, C. Okay, C. You know, 1, 2, and now we're on the way to 3. We're on the way to 3, and what happens then when we're on our way to 3? We get a W. We get that, and this is a messy one, and it's a deep one. And it's freaking people out because they're like, oh my God, it's a bear market, it's all going to fall in. However, remember, watch this. Remember the rules. A, B, C. So 1, 1, there's the bottom there, 2. We're on the way to 3, 4, 5. This here could come all the way down to, I'll mark it out now, it could come all the way down to, oh, I want to get this nice and exact, so this will do it. It could come all the way down to there. Is this drop could come all the way down to 3,200 and not break 1. Everybody understand what I'm doing? Because 1, 2, because this Elliott wave, 1, 2, and 3 is on the way. So this can't come all the way to 3, 2 before you could say it's collapsing. So do I think it's going to go to 2.7 now? No, I don't. Why? Because it would collapse this wave. And is that wave, are we going into a bear market? No, we're not. We're not near a bear market at all. So now that's why I think the double bottom here and here is part of the W, the scooping. So could this come down lower? I think it could. I think that this could come lower. Now, how would I measure that? Here's how I'll measure that. Okay, because here we are here, yeah. Is if this correction is going to be within this, if this ABC is going to be within this Elliott wave, is most likely it won't go below 786. But if this correction wants to break down a little bit and go further, is it could come down and it could go to a 172,727, the 414. It could do that, and it's still above this. It might even go to the 618. It's still in that same range, and then you'd have to move the arc down to here. It comes down, does this, and then it has its its ABC, and then off it goes, up it goes. I think that's more likely. It may not come below this, but if it does, I don't see it going below this really, which means it is not invalidating this arc. It's not a breakout. It means that this arc, it's within this arc. It's not creating a greater breakout. So you get the bounce, and again, you'll get another little bit of this going on, a 1, a 2, and then up it goes. I think that's what's going to happen. Okay? Does everybody get my logic?
Yes.
Okay. And I had to, where is it now? Is this it? I had to zoom out. I had to zoom out and get a sense of this. So now just to reiterate again is once this recovers, once we get out of this hole and it starts going back up, it looks like is this is gonna you're gonna have an amazing pump, probably pump up to something like the 618, go up to 5,500, breaking the all-time high. Woo! You know, and then you get a retrace again, is you get the scoops, you know, and at some point is you get a couple of scoops, you get a drop, and then you get the blow off top. And it's quite possible that this will hit $7,000. Honestly, it could go up here. It could be like the real parabolic run hasn't happened yet. It could go crazy. This is still 1, 2, you know, wherever this takes us to in January, February, is once this kicks off, is it'll probably go on for a month or two, and then you'll get it going sideways. You know, when it dips down, it goes sideways, and then you get the blow off. But now it'll go sideways, and it still has. I think it still has, when you get this blow and then it goes sideways for a couple of months, yeah, and then the blow off top.
I think the short term, what we're all thinking about, well, I think half of us are, is that just how far down would it go before it starts that Elliott wave on the way up.
Yeah. Where is it now? Is when this retrace here is, I think this retrace is probably going to come again back down to 3.5. I still think 3.5 is a target. I think
that's the safe way. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I think to meet the double bottom is, I still think it's going to come down and do that or get close to it. I think that's the case. I think with XRP.
Thank you, because I know a few of us. I'm not going to speak for everybody. We're all, wondering if this is the beginning of the parabolic run when we saw it shot up so fast. But as you have educated us today, which we appreciate, that this is probably a fake out.
Oh, you mean as in the bear market?
As in this latest upshoot that we just had.
Oh, yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's coming, but this is not it. Yeah.
I think you've calmed a lot of nerves.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Stay calm. Like it's yeah. Unless you're doing reckless stuff with the leveraging, and you have your Ethereum hodl, and you're playing it safe with your DCA, you're in a great position. Don't get too stressed out about it. This is a correction where it frightens the market, and please don't get caught up in the whole the FUD and it's going to pull down and blah blah blah. It is do you understand the nature of the Fibonacci, and also the nature of exponential growth? Is it runs in peaks and troughs and waves. So when you look at it, it does these big, and why is it doing this now? Why is it different than the traditional market? Networks. Is everybody familiar with networks? Any type of network, your friendship network, your work network, your electrical network, just networks. So when a network is established and mature, it doesn't grow anymore. At some point, it becomes too small, like a snail with a shell, or a crab. The crab at some point becomes too big for the shell, and then it has to break out of the shell. So the world is working on a network from the 19th century, the 20th century, but yet half of it is in the digital world and the other half is in the mechanical world. And it's not fit for purpose anymore. The network is just overloaded. So now the blockchain and cryptocurrency is the new network. The world is going to live off this for at least the next 100 years, and it's only coming in. So now, why is the traditional markets don't pump like the cryptocurrency does? It's because the cryptocurrency is a brand new market. It's only 10, 11 years. The volatility in it is because it is so vast compared to the old network. It is so vast, and the world is only moving into it. The opportunity is the gold run of this era. This is exactly what it is. We're all up the mountains now with our picks and our hammers, and we're searching for gold. And we've got right in at the beginning of the gold rush. That's exactly where we are. So the volatility is because there's so much space for the network to move into. It's going to take a cycle of decades for it to really mature. And that's wonderful. So don't be getting stressed out about, the bull run is coming, the bear market is coming. Bull run's over, bear market's over. Hang on. Bear market's coming in, bull run's over. It's not the case, but this is going to go on for decades. So don't get stressed out about you're missing out. You're not. Is if you just held what you held for the next 3 or 4 years, you're going to be very wealthy. And even if you have a small amount, you're still going to be very wealthy. You need to hold that in your head. What I have now, and I don't have a huge amount, but for me it's a lot, but compared to other people it's not. But even what I have, in 3 or 4 years' time, I'm going to be a double-digit millionaire if I don't do a thing. Is if I hold on to it for maybe 6 or 7 years, it's quite possible I could end up being a triple-digit millionaire simply with what I have now. So you need to remember that there's a security in what you have, even if it's only a small amount. It's just patience and staying with it. When you learn to leverage, I had this thought the other day, which is absolutely, I loved having this thought. I just thought there's no point in me taking any more of my money and putting it into crypto, because my leveraging, I'm making so many coins leveraging now. I don't need to buy them anymore. I'm leveraging what I have, and I'm getting multiples of what I would get if I use my own cash. So it doesn't make sense for me to take some of my money now and go and buy more XRP, because I'll do a leverage tomorrow and I'll make 2 or 3 times the amount. And it's on using the coins I already have. It was an amazing thought to have. So you'll get there and you'll get into that space, and you just keep adding to your bag. So what's my point?
No, you're pumping us again.
I know, yes, I know, but it's true.
Love hearing this. It's good.
It is true. What I'm saying, every word I'm saying is true on networks. So now look. This is my point. So look at the impulses. Is you got these big impulses, you got these big corrections. They are part of the growing pains of a brand new market that is super volatile. So look at this. Oh my God, this is amazing. My God, the world is falling in. Oh my God, this is amazing. Shit, is it falling in again? No, it's amazing. Oh my God, it's falling in again.
Wait, that sounds like me.
That's why I'm saying it is when you understand the parabolic nature of the waves, is don't get stressed out when you see this thinking, oh my God, it's gonna collapse. There are times when you'll get this, you'll have a blow off top, and you'll have a 90% correction, 80, 90% correction. Between that, you'll have 20, 30s, 50s, 70s, very few 70s, the odd 70, a couple of 50s, more regular 20s and 30s. The longer the market goes on, you'll get more of the 60s and 70s, but you'll get less of the 90s. So that's what's happening now, because the market is getting stretched out. Is everybody's looking at the 4-year cycle thinking, oh, it's finished soon. It's not, because it's getting stretched out. So the 90% correction is way off. Ethereum has to go way up here before it starts getting this 90% correction. But now we might be getting a 30, a 40, and then off again. So when these happen, a lot of people step back from the market and just let it do its thing and then hop in again. But these are some of the best times to trade once you know how to trade it. You get lots of traders doing this, they freak out for this. Don't freak out. This is an amazing opportunity. At some point, you're always going to get, oh my God, look, it's all falling in. Oh no, it's okay. Oh no, it is falling in. Oh no, look, it is going to go. And oh no, it's okay. And see when we start going up here again, is everybody gets bullish, this is forgotten about, and then we're all thinking about the Lamborghinis again. So, and the reason why I'm saying that is that don't be feeding into that and getting your head wrecked, is because it will wreck your head. These are natural peaks and troughs on the way up. At some point there will be a blow off top. How will you know? Because whatever you hold now, you won't believe how much it's worth. That's when you know you're close to the top, is whatever's in your bag, you will not believe how much it's worth. And as it's coming closer to that, we'll be talking about it anyway, and we'll be telling you, listen, it's time to start dollar costing out. So when it reaches a certain point, we'll be having that conversation. Is let's say you've 10,000 whatever, or 100 Ethereum, whatever it is you have, is you gotta start asking yourself at some point, is, you know, normally traders will sell anything from 60 to 80% of what they have, and they'll keep a certain amount just in case it recovers and decides to go and do another blow off top. So any of the long-term traders, is they will dollar cost out as it goes up. So just for instance, Ethereum, let's say it's going to top out at 10,000, is you will have the long-term traders starting to dollar cost out, say at 6,000. So a portion they'll sell at 6, they'll sell a portion at 7, a portion at 8, a portion at 9, and they'll have it all limited in. So is as it goes up, the limit orders go in, and you again, we'll talk about this as it gets closer, because when it gets parabolic, the exchanges slow down, and it can be hard to get your order in. So if Ethereum's hitting 10,000 and it really is hitting the peak there, and you go, I think I'll sell now, you might be waiting a week. If the exchange is really overloaded, you might be waiting a week before you sell, and you don't sell at the price that you wanted to, is you sell at the price that when it gets actioned. So you got to get your dollar cost sell orders in earlier rather than waiting until it goes. Does that make sense? So now, let's say you missed it.
This is new. Yeah, we appreciate you saying this. This is new, though.
Yeah, there's a whole play of this, but again, let's say this is the wonderful thing. This is what an awful lot of traders will do as well. Is look, it's going to be an Elliott Wave blow off top. People are saying dollar cost. Remember something about dollar costing? You put your leverage in, your dollar costing on the way up. Is your dollar costing selling on the way out when you're reaching the top? But now watch this. Is you sell a little bit, but you hold back. There's the peak. F it. I missed the peak. Oh my God, look, it's dropping. Oh no, it's going down. I'm left with all this coin. I'm not making profit. What always happens? You get a dead cat bounce, and then look, up it comes again. Because now it's doing an impulse on the way down. 1, 2, and then on the way down. So if you didn't sell as much as you wanted to on the way up, and you see the retrace, be patient. Don't freak out. Just let it bounce. It will come up, and when you see it peaking, is you're putting again, you might sell here, but if you're here in your, because it can happen fast. It hits here, is you start putting your sell orders in to sell here. So it's no different than you selling on the way up here. You get a second bite of the cherry here. So everybody understands? So a lot of traders will wait to sell here so they get confirmation at the top. So as we get closer, we'll also be having those conversations, yeah? It's part of it. Okay. So listen, I said a lot now. I thought this was going to be a short session.
No, a lot of us needed this today because of the volatility. We were all, at least I think a third of us were getting kind of nervous.
And what's going on? Yeah. It's fine. It's just that we're in that part of the cycle. Yeah. So just a little brief recap is it sounds like you got to get familiar with. Look, there's that W. Look, here's the scooping. Here's the scooping here, and then look, here's that drop. How do you know this is an easy one? Is 3. There's that big drop, 4, and then 5. Start to map this out. Go on to any timelines you want, and start to just mind map these. Do loads of them. Do a dozen. Do 20 of them. Scoop, scoop, scoop. So you're getting it in your head that look, there it is, there it is. So you can see it with your eye. You can follow it with your eye. Your fibs are helping you. Your support and your resistance lines are helping you. And again, I think it's Jeff, is your support and resistance lines can help. So you know that, look, here's a resistance line. And again, here's the blow off top of it. So it helps you. Here's your scooping here. Oh, look, I'm coming to the end of this. There's the blow off top. Here's support. 1, 2, and then here's dropping through it again. Breaks it, comes out, back tests it, and then down it goes. So you can put in your support and resistance line as markers on the way up and also on the way down. But still, it has this story. So I think you need to get used to 1, 2, 3. Get used to looking at that over and over and over so that you can follow it with your eye. Okay. I think of today's session, I think this is the gem. Of all the things we talked about, I know there's lots of great things. I think this is the gem on a practical level, which will nudge your trading to a more refined place. Okay. Guys, thank you for tonight's session. Thanks for all the engagement.
Thank you.
Yeah. Lots of new conversations. Lots of new conversations starting tonight. We'll be having them over the months to come. Yeah. All right. Thank you very much.
Yeah.